All right. Welcome to Clarity Sessions with Bill Fouth, where we cut through the noise and bring you real, practical clarity on money, business, mindset, and everything in between. Now, if you're a mompreneur, a business owner, or someone who's just ready to take more control of your financial life, this is your space. No fluff, no overwhelm, just simple, powerful insights you can actually use. Because let's be real. When you got the right clarity, you make better decisions, and better decisions lead to a whole different life. And so let's get into it. Today's question is,
what does a simple and healthy financial plan look like for a business owner?
as a small business owner, what does a simple, healthy financial plan look like? And the answer is we need to shine a light on your wherewithal. What do you have? What stage of the financial life cycle you're in? How much money do you need? Businesses typically do budgeting. They do forecasting. They look to the future and they say, okay, how much revenue am I going to generate or sales do I have to make? And based on that sales forecast, they say, okay, well, how much stuff am I going to have to buy or how much service am I going to have to provide in order to satisfy or fulfilling or delivering the services that I promise to my customers for the sales they're giving me. And then what's it going to cost me to be able to deliver those results? And then how much money do I need to charge in order to have a profit left over off of that? So as a business owner, you're going to do that planning. And as a small business owner, as an individual, we really need to take that same mindset or that same thinking is, I need to run my family's budget, my family's household. So what do I need? What's my monthly nut? How much money do I need to make to pay my mortgage or to pay my rent, to put some food on the table, to put some gas in the car, maybe go to a movie once in a while, to pay my insurances? What is it that I have to spend each month? What are my givens? What do I have to spend? And then the ideal situation is if you have someone in the family or a spouse, or you have a day job that basically covers all those expenses, then you have time to let your business grow without sweating it. Maybe you have a spouse who's doing that, or you have a day job and you're doing a side hustle to create that. So the idea is we want to have an idea how much money you need to make. What's your wherewithal? So I have some clients that are basically broke and they're starting from zero. They got nothing to lose, and they got a lot of ambition and desire, and we put it in a plan, and then we figure out what they have in their sphere of influence to create the business, and they go at it. And we have other people who have a lot of money and they're in career transition, or they just want to add something else to their portfolio of businesses and things like that. So it really depends on what stage that you're in. But the idea is every business owner, every successful business owner knows where their money is. They know how much goes out every month. They know what comes in every month. And so the idea is we need to create what I call a spending plan. The dirty word for it is called a budget. I don't like to use the word budget because it implies lack. But a spending plan, you get to spend all this money each month. So the idea is what's coming in, what's going out, and is there enough left over? Am I saving it? If I'm not, then what else do I need to bring in, or how do I make more money? And that's typically what's motivating someone to go into business. So they don't have enough and they want to make more. And going into business is one of the fastest ways to make more. Sooner, faster than maybe just getting another job or getting a raise or that kind of thing. So the idea is that having a spending plan, so part of the financial planning process is how much do I need to make personally, and then how much do I need to make business-wise. So, and then typically one of the tools that we use for a business owner is we set up QuickBooks or Mint or one of the online accounting services or businesses that will allow you to keep track of what comes in and keep track of what goes out, so you know exactly what it is. And what we do is we have a pro forma, but basically it's a spending plan. This is what we plan on, this is what we budgeted for, this is what we actually did, and then we can look at the under or over each month to get an idea. Maybe I didn't plan right in this area, I need to allocate more money, or maybe I'm not spending enough money in this area and I can afford to spend more. But the idea of shining a light and having some intentionality about where my money's going is the short answer to the question. And the other thing too, what happens is there's some effort involved, and this is where part of doing it with someone and doing it, having a way to structure it and ways of thinking about how do I think about my money? How do I look at my money? What are the tools I have available so I can grasp it or get a handle on it? What am I doing now, or what am I not doing now that I need to be doing? And having someone to dialogue and talk about that, is part of having a coach or a financial advisor. But the idea is that you want to shine a light on, the SWOT analysis, basically. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? How much do I need to bring in each month? What are my givens? How much money am I making now? And then what does my business need to provide? And how soon does it need to provide it? And then if it doesn't provide it, then does it make sense to go into debt in order to create the cash flow to be able to do that? On the back of a napkin, write down how much your mortgage payment or your rent is, how much your car payment is, how much your insurances are, how much you spend in gas, how much you spend in food, and how much is coming in, and is there any left over? And then the idea is that if not, then or if there is, then what do you do with that leftover? And then invest it in your business. So the whole intention of all this planning work is to try to reduce the mental bandwidth compression that happens by nature of being a business owner. Because you're expanding or you're expanding your roles, which is going to compress your mental bandwidth. You're going from being a business owner, living in one box, where at 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it is, you go home, and it's the boss's job to worry about where the money's coming from, how to pay the bills, and all the other things. But as a business owner, you have all those responsibilities. So you have the stress of how do I manage all that? And if you don't have experience of how to do that as a small business owner, that's what you need to learn how to do. And the idea of having a plan of how to deal with that and how it's going to affect my finances is part of the process.